For a while ago, my social feed was full of those little quotes that said, when in panic, drink a coffee, or knit something, or go for a walk, or just breathe. They were light, catchy, slightly humorous from time to time. And I haven't seen them for a while. But today I want to borrow that idea and twist it a bit. Because instead of zooming in on what you can control, today I want to zoom out. And I believe this might be one of those most powerful ways to build your confidence.
I'm Hanna Zaxmy, your leadership coach, and this podcast is your confidence boost in color. Let's go.
Over the past few episodes, we've spoken about directing your focus, putting your energy where you actually have influence. And that matters. But today, we're doing the opposite. Yes, today, you and me will zoom out. We will step back from the microscope. We move from the detail to more like the decade. Because sometimes confidence isn't built by analyzing better. It's built by widening the lens. By asking, compared to what? And in 10 years' time, what will this really mean? Have you ever stepped forward in a situation, spoken up, shared something, and then in the very next second, wished you could just vanish? As if someone could press a magical delete button. If you haven't, congratulations. That probably means you really have a strong confidence muscle. Or you might not be putting yourself out in those situations where something is at stake. Well, and that's not confidence, that's safety. Well, I have had plenty of those moments. I have a tendency, especially in new groups, to be the first one to raise my hand. The first to introduce myself, to add a little humor, to set the tone. Well, it's actually a good strategy, but more than once, especially when I was younger, I introduced myself in my usual colorful way and then realized that everyone else after me is doing it very differently, much more formally, much more restrained. And I sit there thinking, oh, right, so that's the tone. And I can feel that wave, that internal voice saying, please let the ground open up. But here's the interesting part. No one else remembers it. It was mostly me. Nowadays, I actually even more intentionally thinking through things before. From the perspective on what can I bring into this room that will boost the others to show more of their strength and colors. The most recent times I felt that sharp discomfort was when I arrived at the party dressed as a door. Yes, a door. If you want to hear the full story, you can go back and listen to episode 27. But here's the thing. In that moment, I was very exposed, very committed to do it, very visible. But 10 years from now, no one will remember it, who that was. They might remember, well, there was a party once where someone came dressed as a door. Who? Not sure. But it was funny. Zoomed out, it becomes light. Zoomed in, well, the heart is really pounding hard. Another time I walked confidently into a client's office, greeted a receptionist with a big smile, cheerful, prepared, ready to discuss a project. I have a meeting with the receptionist's searches, and the person I meant to meet is in another meeting actually. Eventually they came out slightly confused. Hi, in my calendar there is a booked for next week. Yes, I had turned up in an entire week early. That meeting, that fall, the one that wasn't meant to happen, was rather uphill. And yes, afterwards I replayed it a lot. Today, it's a lesson in double-checking calendars and a story I can laugh. What I do differently now, back then I didn't have the tools that I have today. I zoomed in, I analyzed, I replayed, I judged. Now, when I'm about to take a step where something is at stake, where I know there's a real possibility it won't go as planned, I actually zoom out. I deliberately ask, in 10 years' time, what will this mean? Usually the answer is very little. It will be one data point, one test, one story. Confidence grows when we realize that most risks are small in the long perspective. Zooming out shrinks the emotional intensity. You are actually stepping out of it. It doesn't remove the responsibility, but it reduces drama. And there's another question I use. Compared to what? Compared to never trying? Compared to staying silent? Compared to not launching? Compared to holding yourself back for another 5 years? And suddenly the uncomfortable step forward looks different. Because yes, it might feel awkward, but compared to stagnation, it's growth. An extension for this podcast, a space where we don't just talk about self-leadership, we practice it, apply it, integrate it into everyday life. And the list, well, let's just say it's very, very easy to count. Honestly, I expected a few more names. And yes, I felt that small internal sigh, that little voice saying, oh, maybe not. Now I could focus on other things that are going well, or I could pretend that I'm completely unaffected, but that's not leadership in color. Instead, I'm doing what I'm just spoken about. I'm zooming out. In 10 years' time, what will this be? It's just one test, one iteration, and one brave step. And what do I believe? I believe in this concept. I believe in creating a space for integration, not just inspiration. And confidence is not built by waiting for a perfect validation. It's built by acting in alignment with what you believe in. So I'm launching it anyway, not because it's guaranteed, but because it matters. Zooming out does 3 powerful things. First one is it reduces emotional distortion. Secondly, it reminds you that growth is iterative. And thirdly, it strengthens your confidence muscle through action. Confidence isn't built by avoiding discomfort. It's built by doing it nevertheless, not letting it run the show. And realizing, I'm still here. The party ended, the meeting passed, the presentation moved on, the launch has happened, and I'm still here, becoming stronger. So here's my invitation for you this week. Think of something you are hesitating to do. A conversation, an application, maybe a launch, a boundary, a visible step. And now zoom out. 10 years, compared to what? And ask yourself, is this discomfort of action actually smaller than the cost of inaction? Let the long perspective strengthen you. If you want to practice this kind of reflections regularly, structurally, and in a community, the membership is open now. It's an extension of the Confident Leadership in Color. Not more theory, but more integration, reflection prompts, practical tools, small, consistent steps. Because leadership doesn't grow in one big leap. It grows in repeated, intentionally actions. You will find a link in the show notes. And whether you join or not, let this be your reminder today. Zoom out, take the step, be confident, be you.